Welcome to Total Apex Sports. This is the fourth and goal. I'm Andrew with our guests, Sean, Brandon, Lawson, and Zach from Total Apex Sports, Bets, and Fantasy. But yeah, talking about week 15 now, like the fantasy playoffs are here. So this is basically, unless you have 2 week playoffs, this is basically a must win um, this week for most either the top managers or if you have a buy. Um, but yeah, real quick, for your personal leagues, do you guys do 2 week playoffs or just 1 week? I guess Sean, you can start.
All the ones I do are 1 week.
Interesting.
I've had it in the past before. I've actually did it one time, and I was ahead by a decent amount and ended up losing because of the second week. But yeah, I'm all 1 week. What about you guys?
I'm mostly either or. We've actually in the one personal one. I'm not in the playoffs in that personal one. Um, but I feel we've tinkered with it. I think now we start playoffs. I think in week 16.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So we go, or no, we start playoffs this week. We initially started it last week. Or next week, the 16, 17, 18, try to get
Mhm.
one week. But I think we're doing it 15, 16, 17, one a week. So we start playoffs this week. Um, so it's just I think it's better that way 1 week because you never know with the 2 week. You never know
Mhm.
what the division scenarios are or whatever
Yeah,
roster
yeah,
you have.
yeah. True.
I have all three situations. I have two Yahoo teams that this is the last week of the regular season that I'm trying to get into the
Oh
playoffs.
wow.
I have one ESPN team that is a 1 week playoff, and then I have two ESPN teams that are both 2 weeks. So I have all three.
Yeah.
So I'm going
Mhm.
crazy. My head's gonna
I
explode.
I do I'm in four real time fantasy sports, and theirs is interesting. They do three divisions, and the top four make it. This is the last week of the regular season, and the wild card is reserved for most points scored
Most.
regular season, regardless of record. And I'm actually
Yeah.
three of those four. I'm actually one. I'm 6-8, but I have the most points scored of the non-division winners. So right now, I got the last spot, even though
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
6-8. So I mean, I kind of like rewarding for points because I don't know if you guys disagree or agree
Yeah.
with this, but I think that the true benchmark of a good fantasy manager is total points scored. That's just my
Yeah.
opinion
Right.
Yeah.
because that's kind of what you control. I don't know how you guys feel about that. So over time, I've kind of adopted that philosophy as far as like always rewarding, excuse me, always rewarding for that, whether it's, a payout at the end of the year for regular season points and then obviously some playoff spots too.
Mm.
Yeah, that's always a good thing too because you can always control like you injuries
Mhm.
and stuff like that like by being aggressive in the waiver
Yeah.
wire or making the right move
Yeah.
and stuff
You
like that.
manage the team and this guy. I mean, a lot of times your team is totally different than when you draft, or half of it anyway. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. There's a few injury notes to consider. Obviously, if Ken Walker misses again,
Mm-hmm.
Zach Charbonnet is like a must start
Yep.
RB1. Um, and then uh, for maybe like neighbors and Tom Tracy, Tommy DeVito starting again.
Yep.
So
Unfortunately,
that's gonna be
Tommy
probably
Cutlets.
rough for the Giants offense. The other thing I saw was David and Joku missed practice
Yeah, he's up
with
there
the
now.
hamstring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Not a good sign.
that's a big hit to the Browns passing attack.
And that's where you
You
can
know,
beat the Chiefs is in the middle. They're not very good against a tight end.
Mm.
Hmm.
mhm.
Yep.
I saw
Don't
Yeah,
think
Brees
George
Hall was out
Pickens
there,
is
but he was
doubtful.
struggling. So I don't think Brees Hall is going to play again. Sorry to interrupt you. Brees Hall's
Oh, you're good.
he's struggling. They said in practice from what I saw in the update. So I think he was out there, but he didn't look too good. So he probably. I mean, there's really no reason for them to push him back. They say they're not shutting him down, but why would you risk him? I mean,
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
makes
Hmm.
no.
last week.
Yeah, it makes no sense. They're eliminated officially now. I mean, if he's not
Right.
100%, there's zero reason that he should play. Zero.
Yep.
Right.
yeah, and then tomorrow's game, I think Guerrero might have missed or he's still listed
Yeah,
as
he's
questionable.
still DNP. Yeah.
I think you can't like I don't think you risk it during the playoffs for that. That on a short week, and also like Patrick Taylor is like, I don't know, he's not really a guy like
I mean,
I
he's
would
solid.
expect. But yeah. I guess like you probably have better options. I would hope. So unless you need a spot start. Also, real quick, Pickens got downgraded to
Yeah.
basically out at this
Yeah.
point.
He might miss
I
a
would-
couple more
I-
weeks.
no, I would assume that we're going to hold him out. He will play against Baltimore, even if it's on one leg. That's for the division. That's different.
I'm with you.
So,
There's no. I'm with
yeah.
you. You're
the
gonna save him.
priorities
There's
that-
100%.
we-
They got to
there's-
save him for that.
Yeah, there's
Yep.
no way he misses next week.
Not only that, the Eagles have the second best pass defense in the
Mhm.
NFL, so it was going to
Yeah.
be difficult no matter what. So let's not put Pickens up against that on like 1.5 legs when he's probably going to go hard enough to hurt himself.
Yeah.
Here it is. Brees was a DNP today. I wasn't sure. So,
Mm,
but yeah, I'm with you guys. I mean, first of all, they got this. This is the same thing. Last time I was on with you guys, we talked about this. It's the stretch where they have 3 and 11 days, correct?
yeah, 10.
3 and 10.
3 and 10.
Technically.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Thanks.
It-
Thanks,
it-
Goodell. Thanks, Raj.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah.
And they're gonna
So,
say, and they're gonna say it wasn't on purpose because that's just when Hard Knocks is starting, huh?
Yeah, right.
So it's a coincidence, huh?
Yeah.
If you're going to punt a game, I guess you would punt this one because the next 2 are AFC games. They're big time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
A lot of people in Pittsburgh are actually talking, and no offense to the Eagles or all that. I want to win this game, but a lot
Sure.
of people are like,
Well,
let's
yeah.
go into this counting it as a
Same here.
preseason game because if we lose this game, we don't lose standings, we don't lose it, we can
No.
still win the division. So a lot of people in Pittsburgh to kind of ease off that we might get blown out because of the Pickens and all that, and we haven't won in Philly since '65.
Yeah.
So if you have an offensive player and they're a Steeler, don't play them. I don't care who they are. I don't care
Yeah.
your hunch. I am a Steeler. Ever do not play them. I don't care if it's Freiermuth. I don't care if it's Wilson. I don't care. Do not play them. Anyone could go off, but it's not worth the risk. This is a fantastic Eagles defense.
Sure, they're playing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what they did to the Ravens was really an eye opener.
And then that's the thing. Last week was their worst performance, and they still only allowed 16. Like their worst performance, yardage wise, in the last 9 games was last week, where they could have lost on the Leggett drop.
Mm-hmm.
Still only allowed 16.
Yeah,
Think about
exactly.
that. Yeah.
They're-
If you
they're-
have any Steelers, just hold off. If you're
away.
in 2 weeks, just bail. And I'm
Yeah,
the Eagles fan, same.
Yeah, this segues perfectly to like probably like one of the bigger games this week, Eagles Steelers. I guess when Pickens wasn't out last week, how did you guys think Mike Williams, Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin filled in?
Ooh,
Sean,
it was
go
a
ahead.
struggle for a first. Oh, my bad. It was a struggle for a first.
No, that's all right. You
2.5
can go,
quarters.
Austin.
It was a struggle bus for the first 2.5 quarters. I ain't even gonna hold you, cause like the second Jameis rolled left and threw that 35-yard touchdown, I was like,
I know.
okay, if we don't get out of our own way, there's gonna be some issues going on in this game. Cause for as much as I don't like Cleveland, their defense will always be solid because they have Myles Garrett. They have Denzel Ward, fantastic corner. Kevin Stefanski, good head coach. And you have the roller coaster that is Jameis Winston. Now, I thought that the crowd went because it seemed as if the whole first half we could not sustain drives. Our defense is fantastic, but what do we know? Offense also has to help the defense out by keeping drives going to get them more rest on the sideline. And I just felt like there were too many 3 and outs. There were too many safe calls on the early downs. But you saw that pay dividend towards the end of the game when you see Najee continue to pound a Browns defense that is good, but they are susceptible to giving up long, tough runs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mike Williams, I don't know what's going on. They said, I thought maybe when they said he was going to start in Pickens' place, you'd see a little bit, but he was 29% of the snaps. But because I did the write up a little bit on this game, he played 19 snaps, but he got targeted on three of them. So he was targeted. If you look at his target rate per snap, It's
Mhm.
very good. But the guy who led the team in snaps last week was Van Jefferson,
Yep.
74%. But he had a touchdown, but that saved his day. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like you
This
guys
is
said,
just
are you gonna insert one of those guys in a playoff? Like
no.
if we got to make the playoffs, or if you're, I mean, how are you gonna start? I guess Najee Harris, Jalen Warren might be sneaky because they might need to throw it to him in a
Yeah.
PPR league. I mean, he could get you probably 10 points, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, how did in Scotty Miller? I'm checking this out to my right here. 52% of the snaps. Wow.
No, a lot of our receivers were on the field for blocking situations,
Yeah.
but it really was kind of a hey, listen, we need everyone to overachieve.
Yeah.
I think there's a realistic view in that wide receiver room. Listen, none of us are Pickens, none of us is, but they all have chips on their shoulders because all season, if you're a Steeler receiver and you've listened to the media, you're not a real NFL receiver. You might as well not be on the team. That's kind of how a lot of people have talked about them if you're not Pickens. So I think they showed up really, really well considering the situation and considering that to a lot of people it was a late situation where Pickens was held out.
But,
Yeah.
Andrew, did you see that we're basically the only reason the Ravens aren't releasing Johnson is because they don't want him to go back to Pittsburgh
I don't
Well,
want Pittsburgh.
because they're suspended him. I mean, he won't play. I mean, he's suspended this week.
Yeah.
Honestly, I heard that the Ravens might sign somebody off the street because their receiver depth is so bad.
Mhm.
Like even when Deontay Johnson is unsuspended, I have no idea.
Yeah, it's just it was weird that they didn't play him. Obviously, there was something going on there.
Maybe Kadarius
Yeah.
Tony.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
I did.
He didn't fumble the punt. Didn't he the one that fumbled the punt last?
Yeah.
He fumbled the punt,
Yeah.
didn't he?
Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
one.
I didn't recognize the number. I was like, "There's a guy you never would have thought that he would be like waiver wire fodder
Bouncing
when we saw
around.
him in college."
It's even more funny because the punt before he literally got a personal foul for taunting or whatever it was, because he called for a fair catch, caught it, and then was talking to whoever our gunner was. I think it was Skowronek, and then threw the ball at him when he was walking away. and then the very next punt he muffed. Which is
Yeah, he's a
hilarious.
train. He's a train wreck.
Now, the one thing about the Eagles-Steeler game I will say that I disagree with very heavily is be careful about putting Saquon as the number one back. This is
this
a
week.
deceptively good Steelers run defense
Mhm.
that is better away than they are at home. They're allowing 83 yards a game away.
Mhm.
Most games they've allowed to a single back in the last 5 games is 70 yards, 65 to Derrick Henry. So he's gonna get some yards. He's gonna get over 50, but Saquon is not gonna run over this team. If they do, everyone's gonna be surprised. So the number one ranking that Saquon got, that surprises me. He is the number one ranked fantasy back this week, and that surprised me.
Yeah.
I
I'm a
think
little
if
worried.
you go that to the Steelers defense, they're gonna.
I'm
be
just a
upset.
little worried with Ogunjobi is most likely out, so that in the middle there, so
But
Yeah.
Montravius Adams might be back.
someone else, yeah, they're gonna have to.
Yeah,
the stretch play is what hurts the 3-4 defense. Like that's the run that you can get gashed in as the stretch play. So
It's Hayward and Highsmith
He
more
was,
than
yeah.
anything. Highsmith is an elite run stopper, and Hayward's having an MVP season.
oh my God, that last game he was in the backfield. Was it last game? He was in the backfield the whole time.
It's every game. It's every game. So
It's
yeah,
unbelievable.
be careful with Saquon. I would trust Jalen Hurts. Not as a passer, don't take the receivers as much. Just Jalen Hurts in general. I would take him, but other than that, this is a weird fantasy game on both sides. I might stay away from most people.
I know.
Well, here's
Hurts' floor saves you.
Yeah.
He'll save him. He'll. I think he put up fair numbers because of his legs. He get outside contain or something of the pass rush in the 3-4. He could break off. He could break off with like a 34-yard run, but they do a good job containing Lamar. So we'll see.
Well, here's my counter to Zach a little bit. I don't know if most of the Eagles' runs are out of the pistol. So they do a lot out of the pistol. They also do a lot of pulling with the linemen too. I don't think Pittsburgh's faced that. The only thing they really face is the Lamar and Jaden run game with like the option, like the offset back option. So I think a lot of the quarterback dash and stuff like that, they could get if it executed. Granted, I'm saying this, if executed properly, might give Pittsburgh some trouble, especially if they don't have all their horses in the right spots. Now, granted, Pittsburgh is a great run defense, and I think Saquon is going to be like kind of like an iffy this week if you're playing him now. But you're still, if you're in that situation, you're still going to play Saquon a lot of the time.
The key is the 3-4 is the gaps. If you got
Yeah.
if you don't stay in your gaps, you're susceptible to big runs. It's
Yep.
all gap control. It's huge,
Yep.
massive
Yeah.
in that.
Massive.
It is. So that they're going to have one big early drive that Saquon's being a big part of, and it will score. It's how they bounce back after that. Since I started watching the Steelers in 95, 94, 95, every Steeler defense I've ever watched, one big score or somewhere early in the beginning, then no break after that. So I never panic after the first one. That's where a lot of it's can we respond after Saquon guts us one time. So I'm gonna watch that. But the Bills and Lions is going to be points for everybody.
That's
Everyone
Yeah,
can-
that's going to be the points game. That's going to be the
Yep.
game.
Especially with the Lions at home, you get Jared Goff at home.
And I've got Josh Allen, so
And Allen is ridiculous. I mean,
You do? Oh, you're a fancy person.
I got
Yeah.
Josh Allen and Khalil Shakir with the double up. So
good
I
stack
think
right
Running
there.
backs, more some golf this week for me. I think both running backs go off.
oh dude, this game's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lawson, for the Bills Lions,
Yeah.
I know Cooper got like I think 12 targets.
Yeah.
Something pretty crazy. Do you think, with Keon Coleman potentially coming back and Kincaid, he was out, could that, like, in terms of fantasy, like, kind of lower their ceiling? But Shakir's been pretty good with his floor though.
Yeah, the only thing for like if you're starting Amari Cooper, I don't think there's anything wrong with starting any Bills weapon
Yeah, obviously.
in this game. Cause like it's indoors, you're going against statistically one of the worst pass defenses due to they get a big lead and teams are forced to abandon the run. So you see these quarterbacks, even in losses, they're putting up, good to fantastic numbers. With Kincaid and Coleman potentially coming back, obviously it's going to take targets or snaps away from receivers like Amari Cooper. I don't think Shakir will leave the field because him and Josh, they kind of have just the telekinetic. They see the field the same way. It seems as if every time they go against a zone defense, what does Khalil Shakir do? He just finds open space. He's one of those slot receivers that I'm not going to put him to this caliber, but he reminds me a lot of what Julian Edelman was for Brady and Wes Welker before that. He's not very fast, but he's shifty. He's quick. He runs good routes. He's good with his feet and his hands off the line. I really like him. Like we all just said, this game is going to be points galore. Let me check just off the top. The
54 and a half it is.
54 and a half. That's exactly what I was about to check.
Mhm.
And let me guess, that's the highest total of the week
Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
by
And
far.
I think the over
To
on
back
that
up your
okay.
guys' points there on Cooper, he was targeted, and as I'm doing some research on that game,
Yeah.
he was targeted 61% of his routes. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He
Wow.
went for 695, but he was targeted the most when he was when he was in there, even though I think he was third in snaps.
Yeah.
For the wideouts, he was targeted the most. So
Yeah,
they're trying to
in
get
ter-
him. They're trying to get him going.
Yeah, in terms of like Lions players like Laporta, Monrod, Jameson, obviously you're starting Montgomery and Gibbs, but in terms of their pass catching, do you guys think the Bills defense is this bad, or is this just they just faced like a gauntlet with their
That was a tough.
Rams
Yeah,
offense?
they've been pretty good overall.
Yeah. Like I in my opinion, I think the Bills are still a really good defense. They just ran into a team that at one point was, 9 for 11, 11 for 12 on third down. So it's like when you can't get off the field,
Mhm.
there's not really much you can do. They dominated time of possession 38 minutes to 22 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's when your defense is on the field for almost 40 minutes of the game, I don't care. You can be the 2000 Ravens. It's going to be, you're going to get tired and it's just going to wear you down over the course of 4 quarters.
And McVay's a better coach. He's just a better coach. McDermott,
I think he's
I'm a Steeler fan. I put McDermott and Tomlin in the same thing. they're good regular
That's
season
my agree as
coaches.
well.
They're
Yeah.
good regular season coaches, but they're not very
this-
good in the postseason.
I
They're
want to
not.
preface this by saying I hate the Bills, really, especially Josh Allen. Not a fan of either one, but this is a different Josh Allen this year. Dude is a beast.
Unbelievable.
I feel the way about Josh Allen the way I felt about Joe Burrow. Just
Mhm.
scary this season, and it's so I would not surprise me if the Bills match the Lions blow for blow. So
Yeah.
I think Josh is telling his defense this week. Listen, you guys, it's on me. I know what you guys are going to go up against, all this kind of stuff. So it's going to be a fun game, like 30-35, 35-40 is going to be the final score, something like that. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. For Thursday Night Football, me and Lawson talked about it yesterday, but I guess what are your thoughts on this game? Zach, you can continue with that.
The Rams game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the Rams impressed me because it was like they listened to the podcast we did last week. As we said, the best thing that could happen to the Rams is they were playing at home, indoors, use all the strengths that you have, and they did it.
Yeah.
So I was
Mhm.
really impressed. So I trust that they can do it again, only because this is a really shaky 49ers team. And
Yeah.
it brings me ever since, like, I think it was 2 years ago on opening day, the Niners just thrashed the Steelers. Ever since then, I'm like, you know what? Every time you lose, I'm gonna be happy.
Oh.
It's been a good season. I've liked watching the Niners implode. So I want the Rams to do it again. The Rams are one of those sneaky, scary teams that if they make it to the playoffs, no one should want to play these guys.
Yeah.
And I think they know that. So, and they have people who have Super Bowl experience who know what that feels like near the end of the season. Just get to the playoffs, everything's 0-0. So watch this Rams team this week. I'm more and more impressed by them.
The only
Yeah.
bad thing about I think the Rams are one of those teams that against San Francisco at times they can have that letdown, because like San Fran knows like that Shanahan
Yeah,
and
yeah.
McVay know each other so well, and it's like no matter what, I think somehow no matter where the teams are at each year they give it a game, like at least one of these games are going to be like down to the wire. And I think somehow this week, after the Rams are like coming in sky high, no Garendo for the Niners, we all think, oh, Rams easily. I think, especially if they get Dre Greenlaw back, where like the rumors are going around right now that he could come back. I think Greenlaw could have an impact in this game on the defensive side of the ball that might give the 49ers the edge. But I still think the Rams will win this game. But look for Dre Greenlaw tomorrow night if he plays.
Yeah. I think Trent Williams might have been I think it was he's either questionable or he might have been ruled out. Like the same thing with Nick Bosa. It's just like, yeah, I think it's going to be a close game, but you know, in terms of like, the Niners are just too injured this year. But you know, Purdy and Juwan Jennings. I noted this earlier. Yeah, he's been their top receiver. You know, like without. I mean, they have Debo, but obviously, for whatever reason, they're just not using him. But real quick, Brandon, going to the back to the Eagles to finish that off. You know, I mean, it's going to be a tough matchup with Joey Porter, but do you think the Eagles are going to try to get AJ the ball a bit more?
If they don't, it's shocking. It will be shocking after the drama that Phillies had all week. It would be shocking if they don't try to get him the ball. I look for AJ to have a strong game like he did in 22 and on the same field against the same team, even though it's different personnel in the secondary for Pittsburgh. Other at the corner spots, they still have Minka and they still have Edmonds from that matchup 2 years ago. But for me, I think AJ that he already posted a Joker picture on his socials or as his profile. Yeah. He's done all that already. He's going to be locked in. I think Kellen Moore is going to be more locked in this week, knowing the drama and everything like that. And I think AJ will go as long as they execute. I think AJ could have a big game. Though I think it would happen. I think Devontae will have some saying that too. I think Devontae will have a decent game this weekend on the other side.
And there's no guarantee that Porter is going to be the one on AJ because Porter wasn't on Chase. So
Yeah.
they're going to put Porter on whoever they think is going to cause them the most problems, not whoever has the biggest name. So they're going to go through, and so whoever Joey Porter's on, that's the guy that they want to take out of the game. Now,
Well, that's
and Dante Jackson is just so these Eagles. If you want to work through the air against the Steelers, you got to earn it. But with Joey Porter, it's the penalties I'm worried about. Because if you get in his head about those penalties, and the Eagles are coached well, and you guys know that going in, you're going to try and get in his head. That's the worry that I have. But the problem is that's not going to help anyone in fantasy.
No, it's not. You're
None
going
of those
to get the yardage. You're going to get the yardage to the spot of the ball, but then you ain't going to get the yardage on your fantasy rosters. No.
Exactly.
But I think for me, I think Devontae in the slot will create problems for Pittsburgh. That's where I'm more in line this week with the Philly passing game. I think Devontae in the slot, if they can get Devontae in the slot going, it will open up AJ for 1v1 because Pittsburgh's going to have to put some resources into that. I don't think they'll put Joey Porter in the slot. I think they'll still try to keep their slot personnel there, but I think Devontae is the guy if you want to look for somebody as a sleeper flex option if you need it this week, especially with the rumors of the passing game and everything like that. I think Pittsburgh knows, they're going to try to get Levin the ball. They might not focus on 6 as much. And I think if they could get 6 in motion, get 6 in big over the middle and outside, on the outside of numbers around AJ Brown in the slot, I think Devontae could go off for maybe 100.
I think the Steelers will be fine defensively overall. They'll keep them in the game. The problem's going to be the biggest issue for them is the other side of the ball. Without Pickens, they're not rolling coverage to anybody. Those wideouts don't scare anybody. They're going to be able to get separation. So that's what I think they could have a hard time scoring possibly. The defense is going to have to they'll keep them in the game. They usually do. But that's the issue is going to be moving the ball against them.
Game.
I think
this could be weirdly defensive.
It's
like
going to
a
be
game where only the Steeler fans and Philadelphia fans are enjoying it, and everyone else has changed the channel. We're like, this is awesome. So that kind of a game.
But for me, I think possibly if one of the offices is going to go off, it's Philly.
Oh yeah, no, I'd be really surprised if we came back and it was like 30-13 Pittsburgh. Everyone would be really. But we're not going to win that way.
It's where the Steelers going to get points from. I mean, how you're going to, they got those receivers are chain more. I mean, Austin and Jefferson can go deep a little bit, but they're not scaring
against
anybody.
His defense.
They're not scaring anybody.
Not against that secondary. Not against.
They're not. You got to get separation to do that. I don't know if they can do that against their corners.
Yeah. In terms of the lines and the spread, out of these 3 games, I guess pick a favorite. I guess we can go with Lawson first.
For what?
Or just what's your favorite pick for the spread for one of these games?
For the spread in general, something tells me when you look at just the spread, Buffalo getting 2.5. Now I get it. Anything less than a field goal is kind of because you're not getting a whole field goal or there's not like a hook involved. I think the Bills really go into Detroit and just pull off, if you would even consider the upset. A 10-3 team versus a 12-1 team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like those are 2 really strong teams that on any given day can go and put up 40 plus, especially Detroit at home. I just think the Bills defense, they're better. They're healthier at this point in the year. If both sides were healthy, give me Detroit all day long. But we saw the Lions sign Jamal Adams off the couch and immediately start him. That's not a good sign. Yeah. That's not a good sign. I think if there is a get right game, Sean McDermott could coach his team hard off of a really tough loss. Because guys, we had a block punt go against us, and then we were playing catch up ever since then, and we still only lost by 2. We just couldn't get that one more stop. We had opportunities, the 3rd and 7 that turned into 3rd and 17, then the 4th and 5 that the Rams converted and ended up scoring on that drive. It's could they get one more stop? And I think that the Bills this week, I think they'll get one more stop and continue to close the gap between them and the Chiefs. because that's who they're chasing for seeding. That's who they're chasing, and to keep up with Pittsburgh. But assuming Pittsburgh lose this week to Philly in Philly, then they're still going to keep the 2 seed. So they need to keep pace with Kansas City. So I'm heavy on the Bills this week.
So that's both games this week are important for
Yeah,
the 1 seed
for both
you really-
conferences.
for both conferences.
Yeah,
If Detroit loses,
Mhm.
that gives Philly a chance. If Detroit
and Minnesota.
yeah,
Yep.
and Minnesota a chance.
For the
And,
Steelers to have any chance at the 1, they have to win. Basically, win.
yeah,
They have
they
to-
gotta win
if they
out.
lose the game, they got no shot at the 1 seed.
Yeah,
and the same thing for Buffalo. Buffalo needs to win. If they lose, Kansas City pretty much has
Yeah.
the 1 seed locked up. If Buffalo loses this week to
And the
Detroit,
Steelers, if they win, they make that. They got a chance to make that Kansas City game relevant for
Yep.
seeding.
yeah.
So both games this week have ramifications for the 1 seed. Now, my question is to Pittsburgh fans right now. The line is 5.5
Mhm.
according to ESPN Bet.
I
Philly,
That's what it is
Philly
right now.
favorite.
yeah.
Philly favorite 5.5. Do you think?
Yep.
I would pick Pittsburgh to cover.
Yeah, I would. It's Mike Tomlin underdog on the road, and you're
There
getting
you go.
more than a field goal. You're almost getting a whole touchdown. Depending upon the sports book, you could get it up to 6. If it's 6,
Mhm.
oh, you hammer all the way. I still like the 5.5 personally because
Yeah.
this game, like I said on yesterday's pod for the Chiefs Browns game, it's going to be a 1-score game in the 4th. It's just going to be weird, low scoring. This game could easily end 18-15.
Yep.
For-
5.5 is that's a really good underdog number too, because
Yeah.
It is.
3, 7, 10 are your big numbers. Believe it or not, if it's 5.5, it favors the Steelers. If it's 6, it's a better number for the Eagles because that's a favorite number. It's 6.
Mm.
5.5
that's
is
the
a
whole
dog
unit.
number. As crazy as that sounds, you're gonna buy it up. You want to get it up to 7 or 7.5,
Yeah,
or leave it alone at 5.5.
Yeah.
I still like
Yeah.
the 5.5.
But the 5.5 is a dog number. You don't see very many 5-point. It's just not. It's 3, 7, 10 are your big numbers, and 6
Yeah.
too, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, moving on to I think this is the other big game, Packers Seahawks for Sunday night. Yeah, the Seahawks are 2.5 underdogs. So the Packers should, well, but depending on how they perform, because I don't know, Jordan Love. I was mentioning earlier, Jordan Love has been inconsistent this year. If Seattle really wants to pull away from the division, in their building in Seattle, I think they should take this game. Sean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's 2.5, so that's a favorite number. Both teams are okay against the spread. Yeah, I mean, I like Green Bay better as a money line. I'd rather, than laying points on the road. I'd rather just have them straight up. But right now, Seattle's getting, the Packers are getting the money bets, and Seattle's getting the ticket bets. It's 2.5. That actually, they're telling you though, they're telling you how much they think Green Bay's better, because normally, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, is it 3 or 7 at home? Usually 3 points
It's
for home
normally 3.
field.
It's
It's
3 at
normally
home.
3.
Yeah,
It's
3 for
yeah.
home. So they think by making them a 2.5-point road favorite, they're thinking they're basically almost 6 points better than them. My math is right. So
Yeah.
off of that, I mean, the tea leaves. I mean, you guys, if you're looking at that, you normally you expect the home team to be favored by 3. So just off of that, I would say Green Bay with the 2.5.
Yeah.
Minus 2.5. I'm sorry.
Yeah. In terms of the Monday night doubleheader, Brandon, the Bears collapsed in a pretty big way against the Niners. I think 6.5 for the Vikings as the favorites. They're
Mhm.
obviously coming off the
I
huge
think I
win
like
against
that,
Atlanta. I mean, do you think the Bears, before that game, their passing attack was trending upward.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be
Yes.
like last time, like in OT, or could it be another letdown for Chicago?
I think Minnesota makes a statement again this week. and I think they just take care of Chicago. Probably by by that 7.6.5 margin. I think they win it solidly. They could go double digits.
I agree.
If Chicago's not
Yeah.
careful.
They played them tight last time, so they're not going to take them lightly. They only beat them by 3 in
Yep.
Chicago, and
Yep.
so I'm with you guys. I think they cover that. You could even see a double digit. I don't know. Williams didn't look too good against a confidence defense last week, so he's going to face another real good defense. I think they're number 1 fantasy defense in some leagues anyway. The Vikings.
Yeah.
I could see a double-digit win
Yes, 100%.
just due to the simple fact of you played Sam Darnold, outside, who even in that Bears game he was excellent, and he's coming off arguably his best game of the year.
Yep.
It's he didn't have to travel. Last week he was in Minnesota. This week he's in Minnesota off a if you want to call it a long week, because from Sunday to Monday it's it's the extra day of rest.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. This, that, and the third. We know that because it's a divisional game, they're normally close. But I was real high on the Bears this year, and I was completely wrong, and it's okay. I just think that
I was too.
due to
I think a lot of people were.
yeah, due to I think that the Bears still have good pieces. They're just not gelling together for whatever reason. And Minnesota looks like they look like a well-oiled machine, and they look like one of the buzzsaw teams in the NFC that you have Sam Darnold, but do you really want to face a Kevin O'Connell coached offense with Justin Jefferson and all the weapons that they have? No, you don't.
And coaching matters. I mean, look, Darnold was a cast off Jet and Panther, and then look how well he's. I mean, coaching matters.
Absolutely.
That's why. And then you guys helped me. They just picked up. Oh, Daniel Jones. Don't be surprised if sometime he's there. He's the back. Right. That's the guy I'm thinking of. Watch him go there. Because I don't know what. Let's just say, because I've heard rumors that they were not going to. I read somewhere. I should say I read where they were not going to re-sign him next year. Darnold. They might not want to spend all the coin.
Yeah.
And they go and McConnell ties his, wagon to Jones. But would you be surprised if he does well and he uses his legs and does something? I wouldn't be.
Well, that's the thing. I think they still got McCarthy too. I think.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, and McCarthy. That makes sense too because he just had another knee injury. So I mean, you can see them rolling with those 2 guys next year.
Yep.
The two options for me, it's either you let Sam walk because you don't want to pay the coin, which he's and it's not like Sam Darnold's old either.
No,
he's
I know.
27, 28, so he could go another 7, 8 years. The thing is, either you let Sam walk, or and whether you say, okay, McCarthy, you're our guy, because he looked solid in preseason before he blew out his knee.
Yeah.
McCarthy, you're our guy, or you have him and Daniel Jones battle it out, because there are benefits to letting your rookie / young quarterback sit. It's not just throw them into the fire. Yes, live reps are awesome, but it's also a confidence builder. It's everything's better with reps. Or what they could do if they franchise tag him. Now, franchising him is going to be a big chunk of change just to potentially trade him. But it all just depends on. I think if the Vikings make the NFC Championship game this year, if they let him walk out of the door, they're out of their mind.
Oh, I know.
They're out of their mind.
And here in Charlotte, the Panthers had Baker and Darnold.
Both of them, and now they're looking exceptional in their new home.
Now they go somewhere else, and the coaching matters. I mean, you guys know.
Right.
I mean, look. I mean.
Coach,
a great job,
vibes, all of it.
Yeah, Darnold looks great. I mean, he's at least more than competent. He's not. I wouldn't even call him a game manager. He's better than that.
Yeah.
And the Bears. This is what anyone who watches football for an extended period of time should expect. This with the Bears. There's something that happens when you fire a coach and you win that first game after you fire a coach. Weird little emotional upset. That ran out. It is run out. All the
technically too. Good. That was the first game last week. After firing Eberflus, it looked like happened. It didn't even last the whole game.
They had what? Get a feel good. Oh goodness! No wonder
did not get their feel good
dumpster fire.
They had what 11? They had what 11 yards in the first half?
Yeah. Yep. It was not good. Once again, it shows that the Bears right now are not in the greatest spot.
Look at the offensive pieces they signed and they drafted at Dunes. I mean, Look at the,
Yeah.
and then they got
They got DJ Moore,
Swift,
Keenan
I
Allen.
mean,
yeah.
right. I
They
mean,
just
and
don't-
Swift, like they went out and got some good offensive pieces to go with that quarterback. It makes no, I forgot which one you guys said. It just makes no sense. Like
The
they're-
only
Well, it does to me because legitimately I believe you can win with mediocre offensive pieces and a really good offensive line, and you cannot do it the other way around.
Yeah, they
I don't
Yeah,
care
their
how
line
good your
is-
They have the
quarterback
best
is. You
O-line.
cannot
They don't have the best O-line.
yeah, no, it's one in the trench, one and lost in the trenches. That's a very
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
point.
That's a
It's-
huge thing. That's why the Steelers
Very
killed
good point.
that's why we the Killer Bees area worked because we had a great offensive line.
Yep.
And then whenever the offensive line got old, it didn't work anymore. This is
Yeah.
no surprise to me. Like,
And when you
Caleb
got
Williams,
both,
like,
then you could be dangerous.
yeah.
Yeah.
Caleb was
exactly.
sacked what 50 times or more. That's a bad offense. I don't care how
Yeah.
long a rookie quarterback
Yeah.
holds the ball. So until they decide, hey, listen, we're not going to listen to the fans, we're not going to listen to the media, we're going to draft in the trenches like the Steelers did, and like Philly did. It's why we got Andy Weidel from Philly because we know it starts in the trenches.
And I'm
So
dating
it's
myself
about
because
where
I grew up in the '90s, Bill. So I'm dating myself. But Bill Pulling, the architect of that team, and then obviously built the Colts. Three
Right.
things: you have to have a left tackle,
Yep.
a pass rusher, and a quarterback. That's the three
Yep.
things you got to have.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because that left tackle, and then I watched Tony Vaselli when the Jaguars started. He ended up like that was their first pick, I think,
Yeah.
the draft.
Yep.
And look at that! Look what
Yep.
that happened. They got, you know what I mean? And they ended
Yeah.
up being good, pretty good in their second year.
Mhm.
Yeah, because they had a left tackle. It's like having an ace on your pitching staff. If you have a good one, everything else falls in place.
Yeah.
You
exactly.
get to back up what you said. You get your quarterback, you protect his blind side, and then you
Yep.
go get somebody to get their quarterback.
And the fourth piece is a lockdown corner. That's the other thing
Yeah.
that
That's the
Yeah.
fourth thing.
Yeah. The I don't know, for my entire, for my lifetime and even before that, because we're all football historians, we love it. When have the Bears been actually good on offense? Like they just don't do offense well. Historically, they just don't.
Yeah.
And
who was
Walter
the
Payton.
you guys help me?
Huh?
Who was the quarterback
Walter
when
Payton
they
was
lost?
awesome.
Wait, when they
They lost the
wait.
Colts.
Yeah, who was the quarter?
Rex
Oh, wait,
Grossman.
Yeah.
Rex
Grossman.
Grossman. Yeah.
Grossman. Fun story. I made a latte for him. I worked at
Oh.
Starbucks and he came by and I recognized him and he looked so happy to be recognized.
But to your point,
His eyes
Would you
lit
be
up.
surprised?
well, I mean,
No,
and
no.
Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that Ravens defense was the best thing.
I
Come
was
on,
going
I
to say,
mean-
but once again,
Yeah.
was the
A good
Why-
line. They ran. They were a run based team.
Yeah.
Obviously, they could block. And when you have a good run, you could protect your quarterback, and the play action actually works when you can run the ball. And
Yeah.
and the fake will buy him another half a second. But
Right.
that's open or not open.
Yeah.
to me, it's just like when the Bengals drafted Jamar Chase, I was the most anti that move. I'm like, you go draft Penei Sewell. I don't give
I
a
know.
damn.
Yeah.
I don't give a
Give
damn
Brian
that
Smith.
you go get his number one receiver. And ever since then, I mean, I'll down that hill, but they're making me they've made me eat my words the past 3
Yeah.
years because they're damn near unstoppable. But it's like I get it. Roma Denze was the hot, nice
Yeah.
Maserati to go get, but
And
Yeah.
in general,
sometimes you just need a pickup truck
Yeah.
to move stuff,
well, in general, I think, I mean, you guys, I don't know if you agree or disagree, but like usually you don't spend. I'm a Steeler fan, and I still don't agree that they should have took Najee in the first round. I don't believe you take high draft capital on running backs.
No.
You don't
don't.
listen to him. It's okay. He's not
But-
out to get you. He's not out to get
And
you.
I like Najee; he's a good
Yeah.
kid. But at the time, the Steelers
You
finally decided to build their lineup this year. They needed
Yeah.
linemen,
Yeah.
and
That-
like
that- we did it in reverse, and the proof of Najee's season he's having this year because
Yeah.
you watched him before. Najee wasn't a bad running back.
no,
Throwing
no,
four
no,
guys
not at
off
all.
behind the
I just
line.
thought they
He
should have
was a
needed
bad
line.
offensive line.
right.
Yeah.
So I agree. We did it backwards. So
Yeah.
I
the-
just
the-
because
the
think
other
about it,
situation
guys. You
that
can
we-
get a great running back in the 5th, 6th round. Like the
You
Bills,
can get
Yeah.
you can get
Devin
7
Singletary was a 7th rounder, and he had a couple good seasons for the
Yeah.
Bills, and he was doing well early, and then he got hurt. But I mean, like he's a 7th round pick. Like there's a lot of good players out
Falcons
there.
Raiders game. That's a weird game. I don't know. It could either
2
be
Monday
really
night
fun
games
or
this
the
week.
most
Where'd that come from?
boring.
Yeah,
I hate double heading Monday nights.
Where'd that
Maybe
come
it's just
from?
me. I really don't like that.
I don't like
No,
it.
I
I'm
either.
not a big fan of it at all.
No,
Yeah, there's
I
no-
only just watch one game on Monday night, and that's whatever
Yep.
game it interests me most. And I don't care about the other one. That's
Yeah.
just
Are they at the same time too, guys?
And when
No,
did
no,
it
once
switch
I think one
over?
kicks
That-
off
It's
10
8.
minutes later.
Yeah, 8:30 and 8 and 8:30.
Yeah,
At
it's
least
Oh,
make it.
so
At least
bad.
make it so we can watch it. Like, why can't we do 6 and 9? Or
Well,
all right,
that's
how
the
about
thing,
yeah.
how about 6 and 8:30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They
for the
don't, they
NFL
normally
historians,
do it, the earlier ones, the earlier year, they do 7:15 and then 8:30.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
just-
better.
that's
but
okay.
not that great.
you can at least catch the second half of the
Yeah.
second game.
Yeah.
And when did it switch over? I remember like Monday Night Football used to be all like it was huge, and now Sunday Night Football is legitimately the one I
Yeah.
look forward to more.
Well,
I expect
yeah,
better
so
quality.
when
When
Al
did that
Michaels
switch
went-
happen?
Man, growing up, I remember when they started Sunday Night Football
Yeah.
because it was pretty cool. I think TNT had it with Pat Hayden and Gary Bender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
And then it was
Um,
ABC in the early 2000s.
yeah, guys, I'm by far I got to be the senior statesman in this
That's
group.
crazy,
But
man.
I remember watching when I was a young kid. Cosell was the big thing on Monday Night Football. His voice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, I know Sean, you have to go.
Yeah, guys,
but,
I don't mean I apologize again. I have to go pick up my children. So
No, you're
Good.
Yeah.
You good, Sean?
thank you. I want to thank you guys for. I love being with you guys, and thank you so much for having me on. And I'll talk to
Hell
you guys
yeah, we
soon.
love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Real quick, Zach.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Andrew. Yep.
No, the Falcons are only 4-point favorites against the Raiders. I'm kind
Really?
of shocked by that.
Wow.
I
That
don't know. Sean,
that-
before you leave,
Yeah.
you can state your opinion for that game.
I don't know. I mean, well, I did hear this. Actually, it's funny you bring that up because I have a lot of Brock Bowers share. Connell, Aiden, he did practice today. And he has a
Wow.
bone bruise. And my Pittsburgh guys will remember this. Do you guys remember the nasty shot Roethlisberger took on the knee against the Chargers moons ago? And we thought he ripped his knee up.
imploded.
Remember?
Yes,
We thought he massive hyperextension, ended up only being a bone bruise. I think
Mhm.
that's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you could see him, and he looked pretty good. I mean, he chucked because I got a lot of Bowers shares, so I'm praying that I'm not. Ritter can't play quarterback, so I knew when I watched
Yeah.
Alabama eat him for lunch in the bowl game when he was in Cincinnati, I was like, this
No.
guy is not a quarterback because
No.
that was pro defense, and he's not a quarterback. He was awful last year with the
Mhm.
Falcons. So, anyways,
No.
that's I would say. I'll take the Raiders at 4 at home. If Connell plays, of course, the line will probably move, but I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
I
Let's
don't
get
know.
to
Monday nights, I usually like to fade the public. So if everybody's on one end, I go the other way.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Later,
sounds
Sean.
good.
Take
Yeah,
care.
sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sean. But yeah, real quick, we're going to go to the
Let's dive on it.
positional ranking
Dive in.
For,
Dive in.
this week. But yeah, I feel like at quarterback, it's a pretty dramatic, like,
Full screen this.
oh yeah, it's a pretty dramatic like drop off. Like I feel like the top 5 have been like pretty solidified this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess who not in the top 5 do you see potentially jumping? There's a few names there I could, but yeah, Lawson, you can start.
I mean, just for this week, anyone not outside of the top 5, specifically the top 2, because we know top 2 are gonna go crazy. I like Kyler against New England, even though
Oh,
New
yeah.
England has shown a little bit of life. I
Yeah.
think Kyler's ceiling is so high because when Christian Gonzalez is locking up your number 1 receiver, and if you might not trust your safety net in Trey McBride, even though he's been awesome this year. It doesn't hurt Kyler to just tuck it and go, and he can move almost like no other, unless your name's Lamar Jackson. He's quick, he's fast, he's elusive. He has a killer of an arm. I really like Kyler this week.
I'm high on Darnold at 6.
Yeah,
I'm high on Darnold. I'm working on the
Yeah,
quarterback piece right now for DFS this week. I have
Mhm.
I have my starts are the 3 starts are Allen, Daniels, and Burrow. That's the 3 starts, and the lock is Lamar.
Yeah.
And then I have Jalen as a sleeper this week. The only reason I have him as a sleeper, as we were talking about earlier, this game could get defensive and he could have a lower output, but his floor is really high, so that's a good sleeper play in DFS. I feel like this week.
Yeah.
My sits, I had Anthony Richardson against Denver, and I have CJ sitting because I found out Miami's the number 1 pass defense in quarterbacks according to DraftKings. So
Yeah.
I think CJ Stroud is a sit, and I think Houston wins that game because of Mixon. I just don't think the Houston interior is going to survive the pass game this week and to give Stroud that opportunity.
Mm.
My fade, I'm trying to remember my fade off the top of my head right now, but I think Bo Nix is going to have a good week. I like him at the 10 spot. I think Bo Nix is going to bounce back this week.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
that he can have another good week too.
Yeah.
Jared Goff. I'm surprised he's not higher. Because
I think for me, Golf, I think I might have had Golf as my fade. I don't know why. I just don't. I think they're going to orient the game around the run game.
I was about to say
the top 4 I agree with, but right below
Yeah.
that, right above Jalen, I don't see why Goff wouldn't fit right in there.
the only thing with Goff is they could have easily run the ball 36 times.
Yep.
Like that's the only thing is that they could say, okay, Gibbs, Montgomery, you guys eat up yards, eat up clock, move the chains.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
your only issue with Jared Goff. And
Yep.
I mean, we've seen
Me-
the highest of highs from Jared Goff, especially when he's been in Detroit at home. He's
Yep.
been excellent.
Yep.
But that's the only.
That's the big thing. 'Cause
Yeah,
if it starts to be a point game, then as much as those running backs are dangerous, then it
Yeah.
turns to both quarterbacks just throwing. That's what
Yeah.
I'm expecting out of this game.
Mhm.
Well,
So.
the only thing for me with that, we've seen Jared Goff have a 5 turnover game against the Houston Texans defense secondary. I think this Buffalo Bills secondary could be that opportunistic to cause at least 2 of those interceptions he threw against Houston.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm a little bit more hesitant if the lines try to throw the ball to keep up with the Josh Allen. Look out.
Yeah.
You did also throw a bad pick last week.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
both of those quarterbacks, either Jared Goff or the other person on the other team that I just forgot, Josh Allen. Both of them, I could see easily coming out of this game with 4 or 5 touchdowns each and 2 picks each. So I think their touchdowns are going and yardage are going to massively outweigh the negatives. I'm expecting a barn burner in this one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At running back.
So Zach, you lying about Barkley. I thought Barkley would have been lower.
Me too.
I
thought you
know,
would
yeah.
have been
I hope this is on the Steeler defense bulletin board. Just needs to have this screenshot just right up there. Look what they think of you guys. Just to piss them off.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It got under my skin, I gotta say.
I thought you've been. I thought
surprising.
Bijan would have been 1 and Henry would have been 2, and then Barkley would have been 3.
I got breaking news. This is not relevant to the NFL per se, but it was rumored yesterday that Bill Belichick is finalizing, to be the next head coach. He is finalizing the deal as of right now per Adam Schefter.
So he's
That's
going to UNC.
This is a weird timeline we're living in. Wow.
It's a
Good for Bill.
simulation.
Yeah, I think he potentially wanted to go there because he
had to
wanted
get his job.
Yeah. And UNC pretty they can dish out the dough and they're pretty reputable at the university.
And his dad coached in the 50s. Bill
Yeah.
Belichick's dad coached there in the 50s, so it kind of has a familial tie for him.
Right. But yeah, I'm actually surprised they have Derrick Henry at 3 because I don't know how
You think
the
it should be
Giants
lower?
are gonna. Oh no, I think it's gonna be higher.
Or lower. That's what I was saying. I think it should be higher.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to play
Like
the
him
fourth.
and Bijan at 1-2.
That's what I was thinking. I think the Barkley thing is because Barkley's been
so
out-
explosive, especially in the second half.
So explosive, outperforming because he outperformed in the Ravens. The Ravens game, I probably would have had him at 4 heading in that game, and then he outperformed that.
I mean, they held him down through 3 quarters, and then he ran
Yep.
for what, 64 alone in the fourth, including the 27-yard touchdown.
65,
My bad, 65. Get every yard in there. I get it.
Get
Yeah.
one.
I
Every yard.
get you.
65.
Yeah, I wonder how many like records could have been broken, like from like 99 yards to 100 yards. Like you need
Yeah.
you need the 1 yard, But yeah, I'm actually surprised Bijan still kind of. I mean, obviously grade 2, but he's been low key on a tear. Like he paid off. He's like one of the few backs that's actually like paid off, like that top draft capital, like opposed to like
Yeah.
Brees Hall and
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs has been also very good, but he had that was it that I think the Packers or the week before that he had the fumble and
Bears game, Thanksgiving. Yeah.
right. They used Montgomery, so that was like the thing there. But both Bijan and even like Tyler Algier last week, they can fall into the end zone and have what's another running back you would I guess like the top 10 obviously
I'll give you 2. Tony
Okay.
Pollard loved this matchup. Cincinnati refuses to stop the run. We saw Rico Dowdle just on Monday
Yep.
have a really nice, damn near another career day. And then another matchup that I love, Chuba Hubbard, for whatever reason, has fallen in love with fantasy owners' hearts. He runs hard. He gets.
Actually did well against us last week, kind of a little bit too.
He gets the bulk of the load carries wise, and for whatever reason, not same game, but once again, he's going up against a Dallas defense that. If the Bengals actually would have ran Chase Brown a little more, he would have cracked 100. But the thing about the Bengals is they use the short passing game as an extension of the running game. I also just think if the Panthers are going to win this game, it's going to go through Chuba Hubbard in the ground game.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Kunta, what is it? They have they have Najee at like 25.
Smart.
I mean, other than that, who's another running back you might be interested in?
James Cook sticks out to me as a guy who could go off not yardage wise, but touchdown wise. He seems to every once in a while just be a touchdown machine. He'll have like 4 yards and 3 touchdowns, like Jerome Bettis numbers from back in the day. So, that's if that game stays close, I can see a healthy dose of him in like scoring situations. If the game goes up like I'm expecting as a barn burner, so that's a sleeper for me. James Cook could go off, but not yards won't matter for him. It'll be all touchdowns.
Yeah.
The running backs for me are the Houston Miami matchup. I think Achane is going to go off, and I think Mixon is going to be the Houston offense in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of those backs will have good days, and their sleeper probably could be Jonathan Taylor if they need. I think Jonathan Taylor could have a good day against this Denver defense. And then Aaron Jones. I like Aaron Jones a lot against Chicago this week. I don't know why I like it, but he had a good game a few weeks ago in Chicago. I think Aaron Jones could have another solid day against the Bears defense.
Yeah, I agree with you there. In terms of like the James Cook stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if all the attention went to Josh Allen this past week, and then some of it could flip back to Cook or Ray Davis and somebody else. The funny thing was I was going to mention for QB Tua as a potential sleeper just because I don't know if it's a big issue or not, but it's kind of evident they can't run the ball. All their offensive volume has gone through Jonnu, Achane, Waddle a little bit, Tyreek obviously. So actually in PPR he's definitely way more valuable. But I mean just because I don't know. Sometimes they've had their issue, which is like crazy because they were one of the most like explosive running units last year.
Yeah,
Um, but obviously, if Ken Walker misses, um, it does suck
Sherman.
that Seattle or Pete Carroll drafted those two running backs in the same draft because
Yeah,
I
it's
feel like
crazy.
Charbonnet would be a running back one anywhere else.
Yeah, he would be. It's like getting Devontae for us the year before we traded for AJ. Because Devontae Smith would be the wide receiver one
A
Oh, yeah.
lot of
in
teams.
Tennessee anywhere else. Wide receiver one, no matter what, he'd be. But he's like he's the skinny Batman, aka the Robin on this Eagles team. So
Skinny
and he
Batman.
has inconsistent days in fantasy right now. So,
Yeah.
This is not me saying I don't want Devontae Smith on the Eagles. I love Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
He's been a god.
If you get to the point you don't want him, we'll take him.
No,
Just
no,
so you know.
No.
It's a short drive.
That would never happen for me. That day would never happen. I was an advocate for drafting him over Waddle and Chase
Okay.
in that draft class. I was an advocate. I wanted Devontae. The Heisman sold me. Went into like straight up without returning a punt or a kick in that
point.
season.
That's a good point.
Yeah, he was sensational.
He was sensational at
Yeah.
Alabama, and he sold me, and I was like, Howie, you better get him. I don't care if you had to trade down to get him, because you're not drafting Chase. Chase was going to go to the Bengals, or he was probably going to go to Cincinnati. I don't want Waddle. I did not want Waddle. I like Waddle. He's a good player, but I think Devontae's the better player of the two.
Yeah.
The main difference is like with the AJ Brown stuff and the and Devonta Smith and everything, like it was just more of like it wasn't like a free agent came in and then they paired him with the rookie. It was like they drafted two rookies.
Yeah.
Basically like a round or two different. Like
it was like one was like what Kenneth was the third round, and I think Charbonnet was 4th or 5th or something like that draft. I might be wrong.
it could have been second. But
no, that's right. Kenneth was an earlier pick. My fault. You're right.
Yeah. In terms of receivers, obviously, start your studs. I want to specifically stay on like Justin Jefferson because he was having a few down weeks, but you kind of just have to trust that like that the touchdowns are gonna go in their favor, with the targets. But Brandon, what's the receiver you're potentially either starting as like a receiver 2 or a flex option?
I like Jerry Jeudy this week.
Mm-hmm.
I like Jerry Jeudy. T. Higgins. I do like Zay against the Giants and McConkey. Those are my 4 wide receiver twos this week.
Yeah, there's definitely not a lack of options. Lawson, who are some of the guys you're potentially starting?
I mean, matchup wise, if you need a flex, I like Courtland Sutton against a very gettable Colt secondary, and
I do like him too. Yeah,
for whatever reason, him and Bo Nix they have that connection.
Yeah.
If it's 1-on-1, the ball's going his way. I'm not opposed to Jerry Jeudy, like you said, Brandon, but like you have Trent McDuffie on the other side that's probably going to shadow him, and Trent McDuffie he's an All-Pro corner.
I know he is. I know.
Yeah,
it is a risky play by me, but I think Kansas City is gettable in the pass game.
Yeah, once again, I get it, and once again, Jerry's going to get his targets, especially if David Njoku's out. Another player, Calvin Ridley, for as much as we say Will Levis sucks because he does, bro's got a hell of an arm, and shows no fear in letting it rip. And once again, going up against a very gettable Bengals secondary. Those are the two that that really like just jump off the screen for me this week. If you don't have one of those top 8-10 guys.
Yeah, really was pretty close to hitting home. It's just like his yardage, like he got in the target. It's just the yards haven't always been there, and same with the touchdown. But Zach, who sparks your interest at receiver?
This is the This is the one. This is gonna hurt my heart because I had to set my heart aside and on all three of my ESPN leagues that are in the playoffs, at least one of them have some iteration of an Eagles offensive player on them.
Woo!
And I'm looking. I'm like, I want to not start you. One on the one that is a single week. I have Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, Steelers, you better score 30 because I need to win this. So yeah, actually receivers are going to really be the reason if I win out because I have mixtures of Nico Collins and Tyreek Hill and AJ Brown and Deontay and Smith, and so I have a very wide receiver led group because Patrick Mahomes has been pedestrian.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
yeah, it's
Addison
definitely
could be
like
sneaky.
Addison could be a steal.
yeah.
Addison could be a sneaky play this week because he's coming off that good week against the Falcons. Granted, the Bears are a little bit better secondary than what the Falcons are right now, but I do love Addison the way he's been playing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
this
not
week,
going up against AJ Terrell on the other side.
Yeah.
What is it? This week gonna be tough for like DFS because like there's so many pay down options. Like you could just target like somewhere like the 20 to 30, like just get a guy on a discount to start.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's kind of gonna be pretty hard to go wrong. Like
Yeah.
but yeah, at tight end,
There's so many good options, especially this late in the year.
Njoku missing. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like the receiver position has had the most injuries, I would say, compared to like running back.
Yeah.
But there's still more receivers when there's no bye week.
There's more
so
receivers
yeah,
out there.
Now this week they did get it right because if you got to scroll down a lot, the highest wide receiver from Pittsburgh is 65th. So and I'm like, that's right. That's about right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think they don't
Not
have
mad
picks
at that
on
at
this,
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like the tight end usage, with picking out, like I know you said not to start Freiermuth, but like someone's gonna have to catch the ball. What are your thoughts on that?
It's gonna be a group effort. That's why it's gonna be a little bit from everyone. I'd be surprised if anybody on the Steeler team went off. It's Calvin Austin might have one long catch, but that'll be it. Van Jefferson might have one catch. Most of his games are one catch touchdown games, and so it's a group of consistently inconsistent receivers. And we have great receivers, tight ends, but the problem is we have inconsistent blocking on the edges. So often we have to keep guys in. So it's not about what we want to do, it's about what we have to do. And this is a good Eagles defense who is going to want to hurt Russell Wilson. So Darnell Washington, the Mack truck of men is going to be brought in. Jaylen Warren is not going to go out for the little things. He's going to be brought in. It's all about protecting the quarterback and hoping we can get some separation from our weird group of receivers.
Yeah.
So don't start any Steelers offensive players. Just don't.
Yeah.
Right. They have Brock Bowers at the number one tight end again.
Not really surprised.
Yeah.
No.
Brock Bowers is easily going.
I don't understand when is McBride gonna score a damn touchdown. Like if he really doesn't,
he got a rushing one.
I mean, maybe this week. They are trying to get him involved. It's just Kyler's just been so inconsistent this year. It just hasn't worked out.
I think Kelsey has a big day at home. At home, like his actual home.
in Cleveland, his home.
Cleveland, his actual home. I think he has a big day.
I like Evan Ingram too, just off the matchup purposes alone.
Evan Ingram.
Yeah, because like with Mac Jones, like
What's your thoughts about Andrews this week?
Yeah, he should be utilized pretty heavily. Obviously with other than like Nate Flowers, they don't have any like consistent target earner, like especially like to potentially score a touchdown. So yeah, he definitely could. I'm gonna say with Ingram, like he does get like at least 6-7 targets, like even with Mac Jones.
Yeah.
I know some people try to work off Parker Washington because he had that one huge game, but that was more of an outlier. The tight ends are usually more on the consistent side. But yeah, you should probably just start your studs and who you have. But I was gonna say in terms of Kyle Pitts, yeah, he dropped at this point.
I think Kirk Cousins has not been. I think the passing offense has been because Kirk Cousins has not been performing like he should have been.
Well, yeah,
right.
It's almost like you shouldn't bring in a near 40-year-old quarterback who's coming off an Achilles injury and pay him that much money. It's almost as if that was a bad decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, Darnell Mooney's been that guy for him, and then Drake London, but then, yeah, other than like the few spike weeks from Kyle Pitts earlier in the season, Jawan Johnson caught a touchdown last week. The Saints utilized the tight end a lot, and Calcaterra, because he's been someone who can, like, he can get up to 10, 15, pretty consistently, I would say.
Yeah, if they use Calcaterra in the right situations, I mean, he had a good, like, he caught the touchdown last week, his first career touchdown, great for him. I love him as a player. Fantasy-wise, I don't know just yet he's there.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a Goddard. He probably won't ever be a Dallas Goddard option in this Philadelphia offense. But
I mean, Goddard's been rolled out already, so
I know. I'm just saying, overall,
yeah,
we're not going to have a Goddard impact, like fantasy impact from.
Oh yeah, I get you.
He'll have like a touchdown here and there, maybe.
And I'd be surprised if the tight ends from either side in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh made that much of an impact, because that was like 90% of our defensive focus was bringing people to stop tight ends.
Yeah,
Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, all that's there to stop tight ends. So and the fact that it's not Dallas Goedert.
Yeah. But if he was in this game, it would be a tough matchup either way. So I don't think Calcaterra is going to go.
Yeah, I'll be honest. This is the first time I heard his name. I'm looking like, wait, who?
Yeah,
I'll be introduced to him on Sunday.
His teammate was with Jalen at Oklahoma, so they have the connection to make it work. But it's just, let me get this into. Jalen Petrie has been ruled out for the 2024 season with a torn pec from Jordan Schultz.
Yeah, that could be good for. Yeah, that sucks for them, but that could be good for like Jonathan Smith. Jonathan. What is it? Like, he had the whole game just I think like 1 or 2 targets, but no catches, and then in overtime, he just gets 3, and then the end zone target. I mean, that's all you need at tight end. Like, it's kind of crazy, but yeah, going back to the Eagles.
I'm taking this personally. What is he doing at 13? I am taking this so personally.
The thing is, he might only get off 3 attempts.
Yeah.
If that, I mean, to me, the reason Boswell's so low, and he's been, if season ends today, he's tight end 1, which is insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The reason why I think he's 13th is because he might get, like I said, maybe 2-3 attempts at most. Which
just depends how.
The second we're edging on the 40, he's in range.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So if the game is played within the 40s, you might have a big Boswell day because he's going to be kicking from mid 50s, mid low 50s. That's the only thing for me.
Yep. The rain too could be the reason. It's supposed to be raining.
Oh, it is. Okay, I was about to ask about the weather because neither Philly or
rain, a
Pittsburgh
little bit of wind.
He is used to that, though. I got to say, those I couldn't see the ball in the Cleveland game, and there's like, he made another one. I'm like, okay.
I bet he did.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would rather have Boswell right now than Elliott. And I love Elliott. Don't get me wrong. I love Jake Elliott.
Yeah.
The way they're been playing, I'd rather have Boswell.
It's just surprising because there's the multiple. I have Chris Boswell on a lot of my teams because I was expecting this kind of a year from him. And
Yep.
there's multiple times he has out-earned a lot of the offensive players on that team for that week. So that it's just a strange ranking going into an important game when we've relied on field goals so heavily all year.
Yeah.
Right.
That's strange
Yeah.
to me.
This gap from Tucker and then McLaughlin and then Boswell is like mind-boggling. Like I would just,
No, it's my
but I get the
Like,
weather
he-
concerns, but yeah,
Yeah.
he should be top 5. Yeah, I mean in terms of like,
For kickers,
They have
it's
Jake
weird for
Bates.
kickers.
Yeah, they have
right,
Bates one.
yeah, I mean
I would
I
have
guess the
better
point
than
total
double.
you would just go off of point totals and the conditions.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean
the top 5 are what you're at Carolina, which shouldn't be bad. Then you're in Minnesota, in LA, in
Yeah.
Houston,
A lot
in
of it's
Detroit.
just good
Those are all-
weather.
yep,
Yeah, it's
indoor,
good
good
weather.
weather.
Good weather.
Yep.
Your
Yeah,
top
that-
7
that-
are all good weather games.
Yeah.
Oh,
Top
that's
8.
true.
Top 8 are all good weather games.
Yep. So that's
Right.
a big thing to take into account there. So yeah,
And
that weather,
Will
keep an eye on the
Lutz is
weather in Philly.
in Denver.
In Denver, the
yeah,
altitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting. So for the defenses before we send things off, yeah, the Ravens should be the top defense. Like that's wild. That's still wild to
Agreed.
say.
About-
At least for fantasy.
That is
Um,
wild.
About 2 weeks ago, I saw this matchup coming because I drafted the Steelers defense in fantasy. I said, you know what? I'm gonna set my pride aside. About two
Yeah.
weeks ago, I had an extra spot. I dropped my backup tight end and picked up Baltimore's defense, and I'm like, this is when. Sorry, Pittsburgh's defense. You're gonna come to the bench to come sit with me because Baltimore's about to roll.
Right. Yeah, I agree with like the top 5 for sure this week.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
In terms of like the thing with like I know it's the Jags, but I actually think I just don't think the Jets defense is like
No.
they're not like the same team.
Yeah,
I would put the
I would put Pittsburgh at 6.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. I would put Pittsburgh at 6 and move the Jets down to 11.
there's gonna be.
Yep.
Yeah, there's gonna be for me the Jets, they were the most predictable team in the NFL this year. They're like, okay, well they're going to be bad because they don't they can't tackle. They have a 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles.
Yep.
They don't have an offensive line, but
Yep.
we're not talking about the Jets' entirety of a season. I can go on and on. We're just talking about the defense. Their defense, especially this week. I mean, Jacksonville has Brian Thomas, fantastic receiver.
yeah.
Evan Ingram, just a mismatched weapon. Solid offensive line. Only thing is, you have Mac Jones playing quarterback, so that you're going to be susceptible to bad throws.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the
Um,
thing. I don't think the secondary for the Jets has been playing well enough either. Like Sauce
Yeah,
Gardner
they-
has not been playing well all season long. So
Yeah. I would
That's where I'm at.
probably raise the Commanders a bit just because the Saints
Yeah.
are going with Jake Hayner, who yeah, I know the Commanders defense isn't like the best, but they're definitely an
The ma-
improved unit.
It's a
Um,
matchup thing on the road, so
Yep.
yeah.
Right.
And
And
the Commanders
Lattimore
in
could be
2 playoff teams,
finally
trust me.
playing his former team, the first week back.
yeah.
Yeah.
The-
But yeah, for defenses, I guess for the playoffs, what are some defenses you guys are looking at? Because I've seen like the Colts, like the Rams have pretty good matchups in the next few weeks. But yeah, Zach, what's the defense that you would be looking to either play this week or just stash?
The only 2 defenses I have between all my playoff teams right now is either the Commanders or the Steelers. And the Steelers is a trade-off. Even the weeks that they've allowed a bunch of points, that we are the number 1 of the team in the league in takeaways. We are getting buckets of points off takeaways and
Yeah.
things like that. So
Yeah,
that's where I think the Eagles and the Steelers defenses might end up with the same amount of points, but the Eagles it'll be because they held us to points, and us because we take the ball away.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The sacks for Philly will get the keep, but the takeaways for Pittsburgh.
Yep. And they just happened. We have like
Yeah.
26 or 27. They're a lot. So
And then TJ Watt being a proponent of those strip fumbles. For me, I think Philly has great matchups the rest of the way with finishing out with the division.
agreed.
I
Yeah.
think for me, let's see, another defense I'm looking at it's an interesting one. I think Minnesota could be a defense that even though the matchups don't line up, I think their defense is a defense to stash and keep an eye on. If you already got their defense, I'll just ride with Minnesota's defense, even against if you have a game in week 18, I would not play them against Detroit, but the other matchups from like this week,
The other matchups.
in week 17, I would play Minnesota.
Yeah. To close things down, I'm gonna say like I know the Bengals are playing the Titans, but them being in the top 10 is
It's
disgusting.
so bad.
Like
That's an insult.
Good
That's
thing-
an insult.
yeah, they're just not like they. Rico Dowd just like rode them out like over 100 yards on the ground. Like, yeah, I would not trust like some of the like because they'll have like the green or red tags, but sometimes you do just want to play the actual better defense.
I would put the
for sure.
Chargers defense this week above Cincinnati because the Chargers are playing, even though they're playing bigger.
The fact the
feel like
Bengals
it-
should not be above the Steelers.
No.
There's so many. The Bengals should be really. That's a really bad defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
Ninth.
I think
Ninth rated
they had
defense.
like one takeaway against Cooper Rush, and it was the former Raven Geno Stone, but he was like, "Thank God, like this defense got a turnover because
Yeah.
they
They would not have
cannot
been pretty.
stop."
Well, what did they do with the
nosebleed.
muff punt at the end? Did they count that? I wonder if they count that as a fumble for Dallas
Oh, that's a good point.
because it was blocked.
I'm
and
not
it
actually
was
sure.
blocked.
I was gonna
That's-
say, if you want to get technical, it was blocked and then muffed.
Yeah.
That's how it's played because it's if it's blocked, if it goes past the line, it's technically a live ball. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird because that play was the defining play of that game, and it might not count
Yeah.
for like a turnover for Cincinnati, even though
Yeah.
it was not like a muff by Turpin. It was a muff by Aurier on a block.
Yeah.
So it's just
Good.
it's
We are-
weird.
We got a comment by Jonathan. He somehow made to the playoffs after drafting McCaffrey, Rasheed Rice,
Shout out
IU,
Jonathan.
Devontae Adams, and Devonta Smith.
Wow,
was
that's
asking,
management right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job,
That's
bud.
fair.
a lot of injuries.
That,
But
Yeah, because
start
that's not luck.
Lad.
Good job.
Lad if he plays. Calvin Ridley or Keenan Allen against the Vikings.
Well, if he
Ladder
plays, you go lad,
Ridley.
right?
Yeah, if you played, you go with McConkey. If not, Ridley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what
'cause-
I was thinking.
Even if Lad doesn't play, your
Oh.
thing, but it's Ridley's getting crazy targets.
Mhm.
Now he might not, it's Will Levis, so they might not always be on target. Blah blah blah. This, that, and the third. However, like when you look at Keenan Allen's situation, he is the number 2 receiver on a team that has 3 to 4 really good weapons. So there are some games where he is the man, and there's some games that he's the odd man out. In which, when you look at Tennessee, Calvin Ridley is the number 1 option.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good
A lot of people the Nick Westbrook Akine stuff kind of fell through. I mean, he did have he had a touchdown opportunity. Will Levis just missed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to close things out, share your socials, Brandon.
30 BOS on the screen there. Basketball full swing. I go back had a game Monday. I go back Friday night to Fort Defiance for girls basketball, so that's going to be fun. Looking forward to this weekend and the NFL slate, honestly. NBA Cup this weekend too, the semis. So that's going to be fun to watch that and see who does well. And then Tuesday's the championship. So it's going to be an interesting time in the NBA as well. Yeah, just follow along with Hill Apex. Keep it up.
Yeah. Zach.
It's my last name and my first name, Franciscus Zek. It's at the
Yep.
bottom of the screen there. I also for Steeler Sanctuary is the other podcast that I do. We do Hard Knocks every single Friday, Wednesday morning to recover it, and then we do recap and preview shows every week too. So we're everywhere. Find us.
Yeah. Lawson.
Check me out on Twitter at Lawson_1226. We do Total Apex bets a handful of weeks. So if you like free money, tap in and let's all get rich. Let's all make some money one slip at a time.
Yep.
Yeah. You can follow Sean at the coaching desk. He also writes for Totally Pick Bets, but yeah, hopefully fantasy playoffs do well this week, and yeah, the Steelers Eagles game, I'm sure we're gonna have next week, but yeah, I'm excited.